Just imagine a day where your Google Business Profile gets suspended and your local service ads in turn is also suspended. That's it. 90% of your revenue gone.
Well, hello and welcome to another guest interview here on the Profit with Love podcast. I'm your host, Moshe Amsel, and I'm excited today because I've got somebody who I have been sending pretty much 100% of my client base to, and that's quite the testimonial. But there's a reason for it. Uh, there's there's a piece of marketing. There's a slice of the marketing space that's really ignored by most marketing agencies, yet it's kind of like the ABCs. It's almost like if you go to build a house, you know that you need to have a foundation, but what if there's like nobody doing cement? And you can buy framing anywhere you want, you can get roofing anywhere you want, but you just can't buy cement. How do you build a foundation, right? So, um, what I really love about our guest today is that he is the go-to expert when it comes to your Google Business Profile, LSAs. These are the things that just marketing agencies just assume that you know what you know, that you've got it all dialed in, but it's so far from the truth, and it's such a big piece of business. It's the thing that's going to drive how you show up online, how you show up in the map pack, how you even LSAs, like if your business profile sucks, they're not presenting your LSA for people. So, and we can talk about what LSAs are for those who don't know. But I'm really excited to get Ben Fisher here on the conversation because Ben is a Google Business Profile Diamond product expert. An experienced veteran in SEO and social since 1994. He's also a contributor to the local search ranking factors survey. He's the co-founder of Steady Demand, which works with agencies and businesses to maximize outsourced local SEO. Ben, welcome to the show.
Hey, Moshi, thanks for having me, man. That was a great introduction. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. But look, it is what it is, right? Like there's when you go out there and look for a marketing agency, typically they're selling you one of two things. They're selling you SEO services or PPC services, or they're trying to rebuild your website, even though you just rebuilt it yesterday, right? Uh,
Right.
but at the end of the day, where are people looking to find out more about you? Yeah, they might end up on your website eventually, but they're checking out your Google Business Profile.
Yeah, for the
And
most part, well, I mean, I'll tell you, man, right away. What we hear is that 90% of leads basically are coming from a combination of a Google Business Profile and your local services ads. Period.
yeah, so real quick, just for the color for everybody, local services ads are where basically you tell Google, hey, look, I'm interested in running these. I'm verifying here that I'm an attorney. And now when somebody searches for, estate planning attorney near me, there's going to be this Google screened section that shows up at the top of the screen, and they're going to present two providers up there. And people can click view more and they can see more of them. But Google will decide who displays there, and you're going to pay for a lead if they click on it and actually call your firm or submit a lead form. Did I get that correct, Ben?
Yeah, yep, exactly. So if they submit a message or if they call or if sometime in some cases if they text, depending on what settings that you have set up, yeah, you're going to get billed for that lead. But that lead only goes to you. It doesn't go out to other lawyers in your area or other people who want leads. And so Google's kind of putting their backing behind you because they've gone ahead, they've done background checks, they've done insurance checks, business checks out the yin yang, and they're basically saying, okay, these guys are legit, so let's go ahead and start sending them leads.
Yeah, I love that. But so I want to take a few steps back. First of all, what is in the intro? I introduced you as a Google Business Profile Diamond product expert.
Yeah.
Can you just explain what that is? And it sounds really fancy, but how does that differentiate you from anybody else and
Sure.
make you the authority on business
Mm.
profile conversation?
Couple different things. Number one, a lot of people try to get it confused with Google AdWords, basically partners. Um, Anybody can become an AdWords partner. You probably are an AdWords partner, right?
Nope.
If oh, you're not? Okay. Well, if you pay $10,000 a month, basically, or if you have $10,000 a month with ads running in your account, guess what? Boom, you're a partner. This program is completely different. This is volunteer and is invite only, basically. So I'm just going to give you the numbers really quickly. So there's 2,500 product experts in the entire world. This is to basically volunteer on your personal time or your own time to help other people with their products. So Chrome has it, the Pixel has it, everything has it. AdWords has it. The Google Business Profile community just how happens to be one of the largest communities that Google actually has, which I find interesting personally. I would have thought AdWords would have been larger, but it is. It just happens to be that way. So out of those 2,500, there's only about 80 of us, which are product experts for the Google Business Profile community. After you get involved in the community and working with it and kind of, helping users through their own kind of issues and such, yes, it's volunteer. We're working for free. Google will can reach out to you and say, hey, you kind of look like you know what you're talking about. We'd like you to join our little secret society called the expert community. And so once you join, of course, and you go ahead and you sign an NDA. At the end of the day, what this really means for us and for our customers is that we've basically been, in a sense, handpicked by Google as experts. So they're calling us experts. There's even a page that's on their support help center that is all about this. And out of those 80, there's only maybe 20 of us, which are actually the last 15, Diamond product experts. Diamond product experts are basically defined by Google as individuals who have expressed and shown that their knowledge level is of an expert capability and basically is well beyond most people, really, is what it comes down to. It's just a lot of experience. And so what that allows us to do is to basically work directly with the product teams over at Google, the program managers at Google, and the community managers over at Google. Um, we get to talk to them daily. We meet with them once a week, and once a year they fly us out to their HQ. We get to see a lot of product features and things like that about 6 months to a year before they even come out. And we get to kind of tell them what we think about that and how we think, what we think merchants would like and what consumers would like. And so, yeah, so it's a lot of fun, but it gives our clients a really great edge.
Awesome. So, as a Google Business Profile expert, let's just take this from the top. So, first of all, what is a Google Business Profile? And then where's the room or ability to enhance it or make it better?
Sure.
Because when we search on Google, it looks like it's just a simple directory listing. So there's got to be more to it than that, right? So give us the lowdown of what is involved in a Google Business Profile.
Sure. I mean, a Google Business Profile, if you think about it, really all it is it's a way for Google Maps, in a sense, to point you in the direction of a business or for a business owner to be able to provide enough information to consumers to help them make a decision on whether they want to do business with you in the first place. So your Google Business Profile is going to have your business name. It's going to have your address if you're showing it. It's going to have your phone number, of course, the hours that you're open, the services that you provide. You can do things like posts and questions and answers, and all of these little things basically that are going to help you be more visible in search and also help you convert more users when they find you. And Google ranks these, well, the way they rank things, right? There's obviously a black box, but there happens to be about maybe 10 different levers within GBP that you can actually kind of pull to help with ranking. But believe it or not, at the end of the day, the biggest power that's going to help your Google Business Profile rank is actually going to be your website. So what some of those little ranking factors are in the GBP is going to be, the first one is going to be, believe it or not, it's just the address. It's where are you located? Google loves proximity. People love proximity. So they are going to look for, say a dog bite lawyer near me, or something like that. Even though you may not go to that person's home or they might not come to your office, they still like near me. The next thing is going to be the category. If you're a personal injury lawyer, you need to have personal injury lawyer up there. You might not want to just do the general lawyer category, but you might want to get a little bit more detailed. The basically the name of the business that you put up is very important. And so, in other words, if you do have, say, personal injury lawyer in your business name, that's actually going to help you rank well. Not suggesting you do this, by the way, not until you're actually in compliance and you have proper signage and legal documents that actually reflect that name, because otherwise you can get suspended, which we'll talk a little bit about that later. And, like your website and your reviews. Your reviews are going to help with ranking too. There's a bump at 10 and a bump at 100. There's a couple of other little things in there, but not going to get into those in too much in depth and detail right now.
That's a big gap from 10 to 100.
It's a huge gap, but it's the only thing that's been tested, and we know in air quotes we know it works because it's
Right.
been tested. So we kind of use that as just and I say we as in the marketing people in the GPP space use that as kind of our bar basically because we know when we hit 10 we get a rank bump. We know when we hit 100 you get a rank bump. Anything beyond that is you're just fighting with your competitors to see who can get more reviews.
So I'm just going to repeat back what I heard. I heard that there's basically three main things that are going to drive the success of a business profile. One is the
Mm-mm.
name of the business. Um, Two is actually three is the reviews, going out of order here. Because I'm drawing a blank now on what the second one was. Uh,
Address.
uh, well, yeah. So you had address, but you also had website, right? So
Mhm.
is it
Yep.
those four things, right?
There's a
So
total. There's a total of maybe 10, but
right.
yeah, there's the top.
But if we want to look at, like, somebody's listening to this and like,
Mm-mm.
oh, I don't know, I gotta go look at my profile, right? Like, which is the biggest levers to pull? Like, which are the things, like, look at this and just make sure I'm good? Is it website and reviews? Is it name of entity? Like, what are the things that make the biggest impact?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's kind of like we just went over, right? So it's going to be, yes, the name of your business is going to be extremely important, but there's rules around this. The address, you can't change the address. I mean, obviously, you can change it, you can move, but the address is what it is. Just make sure it's in the city that you want to rank in, which you can do by going to Google Maps. Getting reviews, you should always be getting reviews. Your website URL, again, your website actually in general should have good SEO behind it, and it's going to help your local. Helping your local will not help your organic. But there's other, like I said, there's up to 10 things maybe that you can pull, but those are the top ones.
So when Google's looking at the website that you're listing in your business profile, they're really looking at all of that SEO data behind it. They're looking at how you're ranking in search and
Sure.
the searches that you're coming up
Well,
for and all of that.
not necessarily. They don't they don't really care about how you rank in search. That's not their barometer. What they do is they can see all of those signals. They already have all of those signals, so why wouldn't they use them? Really is what it comes down to. Because if your organic is doing well, shouldn't your maps also be doing well? I mean, if you're good here, you're probably good over here too. So yeah, then no, they don't really care about how strong your SEO is, but those signals do add up. So it's
So
kind of like anything else with SEO.
essentially what Google's doing is it's saying somebody's searching for a business. We want to present the best possible solution for them. So we're going to find one that's close to them and that is ranked well by people who have used it, reviews, and we have the most relevant information as to how relevant they are as a provider by the name that they are, the URL they have, as well as how busy their website is.
In a sense, trust begets trust is how I would probably look at it.
Got it. Um, okay, so within the business profile, so there's those things that you can control. Is there a lot of value in doing posts and the other things that it lets you do? Is there relevancy to, and how active do you need to be on there for it to be relevant?
Sure. I mean, you should be on a monthly basis, creating posts, creating questions and answers, adding services, things of that nature. Anything that you can basically, in a sense, quote unquote, edit, which is not about the location details, should be maintained. You should be uploading photos on a very regular basis. Google is a very visual engine, and they use those photographs for many different things. Just one of those would be on mobile. Based on the query, a different image may show up. So if it's a dog bite lawyer, it might show up a dog. If you're a personal injury lawyer, it might show up, an accident or something like that if you have those kind of pictures on your GBP. So, but what I like to say is not only are these engagement factors, but they're also conversion factors. Um, I can tell you that I have stories where I have a personal injury lawyer which sent me an email saying, "Oh my God, hey, we just pulled in $1 million case off of a Google Business Profile post." It's like, well, that's fantastic. Good for you. All right. So they absolutely do convert, and that's how I like to look at it. I don't like to look at things from a ranking perspective, because ranking doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What matters at the end of the day is that you are showing for keywords that users are looking for, and that you're providing the answers to those users. You never try to optimize for Google. You always are optimizing for users. If you optimize for a user, you're optimizing for Google.
Awesome. Um, what are the risks in business profiles? I know I've heard you talk about uh, people's profiles getting taken down or
Mhm.
rejected or disbarred or whatever it's called. Like what is the terminology? What happens there? And how devastating can it be?
Sure. You're talking about suspensions, basically.
Okay.
So yes, Google giveth and Google taketh away. That is for sure. And sometimes with no rhyme or reason, by the way. The majority of the time when it comes to lawyers is because A, they are already out of compliance. They just don't know it. They're not doing it maliciously. They just see their competitors putting up 10, 15, 20 offices all over California. And they say, you know what? I've serviced that area too. So I'm going to go ahead and get myself a Regis office or something like that. Um, and then one day, and you wake up, and all of a sudden, all of your 10 listings are gone. Your phone has stopped ringing. Nobody's sending you emails. As a matter of fact, the only emails that you are getting is from customers saying, "Hey, we can't find you online. Are you guys still in business?" That line right there should be terrifying to anybody. Are you still in business? Because I can't find you. And all of your leads, they can't find you. Let's say again, you're in LA, you've got billboards up, right? Guess what? People are searching for you because of those billboards. You've got radio ads up. People are searching for you because you're on radio. It's just consumer behavior. So not only are you wasting all this other money on traditional advertising, but now all of a sudden your leads have gone, basically. And this is kind of tumbled over into your local services ads as well. Because when your GBP gets suspended, all of your reviews are removed from local service ads. And it's going to actually be a little bit worse here very soon. Um, just imagine a day where your Google Business Profile gets suspended and your local service ads in turn is also suspended. That's it. 90% of your revenue gone. And then you have to go for a reinstatement. Most people panic and they hit the appeal button as quickly as they can and they just click next, 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 next. When you do that, either you're going to miss your chance to attach any kind of real evidence that you are a legitimate business, which if you do, that's horrible because you just wasted one swing to get reinstated. And there's only two. That's it. You've got two chances. You used to have unlimited chances. Now it's only two. And so basically, yeah, when you're suspended, you are offline. Your LSA takes a hit as well. Your revenues take a hit. Your calls take a hit. Everything takes a hit. If you are suspended, like if you were suspended, like say, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, I would feel really horrible for you because the Google was so backlogged, it was taking up to 4 to 6 weeks for them to just get to your case. That means 4 to 6 weeks guaranteed you're down. You're not getting back up. And then if they deny you, now you have to wait more. And you have to figure out why you were denied in the first place. Um, Preparation is key when it comes to your Google Business Profile. And what we have discovered is that of reinstating over 6,000 businesses, is that only 4% of businesses are actually ready for a reinstatement. This can be truly devastating So let's just go again. Let's just say the reinstatement period's 2 weeks right now, right? Okay, great. 2 weeks. Bam, you get denied. You finally connect with somebody who's an expert and understands suspensions and reinstatements and appeals. And they say to you, well, yeah, we can't reinstate you at your office because the office that you have is a virtual office. Virtual offices are not allowed. And it's a Regis. So we wouldn't recommend actually getting an office there. You should probably go find a space. Now you got to go find a space. Finding a space for lawyers is really difficult, especially if most of the business that you want, of course, is going to be downtown probably, right? I don't know, how do you think it's going to easy it's going to be to find an office space in downtown LA? Not easy and not cheap. And then once you get that location, now you've got to update everything. You've got to update your bar license, you've got to update the Secretary of State, your LLC. You've got to go ahead and get a new utility bill, a new business license. I mean, the list is pretty long. And each one of these things takes its own individual piece of time. Like for the utility bill, we need a printed version of that utility bill statement, not an invoice. That's going to take 30 days just to cycle to get to you. So you're down for another 30 days guaranteed, plus the time to get the office, plus the time to go through all the other documents. So, in other words, I really hope you have a good caseload. I hope you are closing a lot of that business, those leads that you had before. And I hope you've got some good amount of money basically saved up because you're going to go now 2 to 3 months basically with no new leads. So there's some options in there, like maybe just go get an office or something like that. But at that point, it's pretty dire.
Yeah, I think that it's important to because it sound the way that you describe it, I think some people might be thinking like, yeah, but I'm different, right? Like I don't get my leads from Google. This is anything like your website, anything you're doing publicly, the even referrals, right? Like I go to a party and I'm standing next to a friend and I say, "Hey, by the way, I'm looking for an immigration lawyer for, my um, cousin or whatever that needs something." And he says, "Oh yeah, you got to call, John immigration lawyer, right?" Um, what am I going to do? I'm gonna pull out my phone and I'm gonna Google
Showing an immigration
search
lawyer.
John immigration lawyer. And if that business profile doesn't show up, I'll be like, all right, I couldn't find him.
Yeah, I don't know who you're
Probably
talking
not
about.
doing that anymore.
Yeah, you got another one? Oh, by the
So
way,
like even,
I found a J
even if
immigration
your
lawyer.
yeah,
Go on.
even if your pipeline is completely offline, where your business is coming from is completely offline, most of those are going to stop coming if your listing is gone. Like,
Right.
just people can't find you.
Oh, we
I
talked about
want to,
that, right?
what's
If you
that?
got a billboard or radio advertising or anything like that, that search behavior is still going to be the same. You hear something about this great, personal injury lawyer, and you're like, oh my God, yeah, my friend just got into an accident. I should probably tell them about this company, right? They sound pretty cool. Well, great. They go ahead and they Google you, and you're nowhere to be found.
How often I mean, like, how prevalent of an issue is this? Like, is there a percentage of law
Yeah,
firms that are getting this suspension, that are experiencing the suspension issue?
yeah.
Um, it's almost like we don't really hear about this much.
No, you don't. 36% of law firms are going to be suspended at least once per year. That's the number.
That's a third. That is crazy.
Yeah, and it's real.
Okay,
See it every day.
so if we get suspended, then there's stuff that we need to do to get unsuspended, right? But how do we avoid suspension in the first place?
That's a wonderful question. And I probably wouldn't be here answering this on this webinar if I knew that answer. No, actually, I'm just joking. I do. So there are things that you can do to mitigate a suspension, but there's nothing that you can do to completely avoid it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. About 4 years ago, personal injury lawyers specifically started putting keywords into their business names on Google Maps. and GPP because they wanted to rank better. And magically it worked. And of course, everybody and their brother saw their competitors doing it. So they said, well, I'm going to do that too. Same thing with shared desks, virtual offices. Hey, how come this lawyer over here has 15 offices? I should be able to do the same thing. And so they'll go ahead and they'll do those things. What ends up happening though is then you get a savvy marketer who understands the Google ecosystem and says, you know what? I don't think that guy actually has 15 real offices that are staffed. And I'm pretty sure his name is not best San Diego dog bite lawyer in the personal injury space of all of California. I'm pretty sure that's not his name either. And so, as a matter of fact, not even reflected on his website. So basically, that person now goes ahead and starts reporting you. Google gets the report. It's reviewed by AI and also by human being. And then if there's anything that is wrong with that profile, and when I mean wrong, like I'm talking about, they have lots of different checks to check the validity of a business, online and offline checks, by the way, like business licenses. And if those come back as a fail, and it can be something as silly as you made a edit to your profile too fast, and that caused a suspension too, by the way. So it could be a user reports you and something fails, and that suspends you. You can make edits too quickly to your profile. You do that, you can get suspended. The reason I'm giving you the negatives or the things that people do is because you don't do these things and you can mitigate, you can get suspended less. So yeah, so don't put keywords in your name. Don't get into a virtual office, PO boxes, FedEx, etc. Don't get virtual mailboxes. Don't make edits too quickly to your profile. Upload photos of your storefront to your photos in your GBP. And just really go over the guidelines with a fine-tooth comb. And doing some of those things is going to help you not get suspended.
Okay, so you have a suspension. We only get 2 shots at it. What do we need to know in order to win on the first go around? I think before you told us what not to do, right? Like don't click
Right.
next. Make sure that you've got all this stuff in order. But you also said that often you don't even know why you got suspended. So
Yeah.
what is the best tactic or way to address
Mm.
and getting
Yeah.
out of that suspension?
The guidance that Google is going to give you is read the guidelines. And I cannot tell you how many people say, oh, I've read the guidelines inside and out. I've read every night for a month and I still can't get unsuspended. And that's because people look at the guidelines and think they're black and white. They're actually very, very gray. They're not black and white at all. So you have to really, you have to kind of understand what Google is looking for, which they do tell you, by the way, during this process. They say if you go to this page, you can learn more about being suspended. And on that page, it tells you the proof and evidence that you can submit. But most people don't go that far. They're too scared or they're too upset at this point, right? Usually they're very upset because they're losing business. They're going to be laying people off. So they just rush through it. So yes, don't rush through it. Read everything. And what I would say is that go read that before you ever get suspended. Make sure that you're in compliance with Google. I'm going to keep on saying that because it's so important. People think about it after the fact. You need to be thinking about it before the fact. So I would say number one, go read through all of that because let's just put again, we go back to the 4% number. If only 4% are ready for suspension, do you really think that you're in that 4%? And the answer probably is going to be, oh, sure, I am. And whenever somebody says that, I say, oh, great. Okay. So your Google business profile name is best dog bite lawyer in San Diego, Moshe. That's your profile, right? It's a
Mhm.
practitioner profile. Is that in compliance? Answer is going to be no, hands down. I go look at your bar profile, which I can go find, which Google can find. It's going to probably say, Moshe Law Firm, right? Something like that. And so, Bill, and then of course somebody will say to me, yeah, but I'm good, Ben. Really, really, I'm good. I've got a DBA. Okay, you got a DBA. Oh, look at that. Your DBA is actually for your office in Newport. It's not for your office in San Diego. So yeah, Newport might be okay, but San Diego is not. So you're not in compliance. Like, no, 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 I think I'm pretty good, pretty good. Well, Google's not going to think that way. Google's going to take a look at one and it's going to say, you know what? Oh, I see that these other 15 offices, and it does say Moshe Law Firm on his website. I think it's Moshe Law Firm. And they're either going to, well, no, not either going to, they're either going to change the name and or they're just going to simply suspend you. And if it's a bad enough infraction on their end, they're going to suspend all of your offices, including the one which is probably real. And I've seen that happen before as well. I've actually seen one personal injury lawyer out of Newport Beach. Huge, huge sign on the top of the building with their actual business name. And Google took down all of their satellite offices and the real office. When we appealed the real office at that time, they said, nope, we're not going to reinstate the real office. We said, why? They said, very simple, too many infractions. So, what should you do to increase your chances of suspension of getting the suspension appealed? Make sure you're in compliance. Make sure your business name is consistent across your Google business profile, your website, and also all of your legal documentation that backs up the validity of your business. We're talking business license, utility bills, DBAs, Better Business Bureau. These are just almost just a couple of them off the top of my head. And making sure that everything is accurate. I see too many times a Secretary of State entry is a different address or a different even zip code than the actual office. Why? Because they moved 5 years ago and somebody never updated it. Didn't think they had to, I guess. But it can absolutely block a reinstatement. I can, again, most people's behavior is just they look at their Google business profile, they maybe skim the guidelines and they go, no, I'm good. Trust me, you're not good.
So is there, I mean, look, I'm all for getting help. Like, I mean, we're talking to lawyers, right? Like, if you get arrested, you're going to go get yourself a criminal defense attorney, right? You can
Sure.
self-represent, but that's not really wise. I mean, there's a lot on the line here with business. Is there somebody that we can go to get representation to walk through the process and make sure that we're going about and doing this right?
Yeah, it's kind of funny, actually. People have called me the lawyer for Google business profiles. I'm not a lawyer, by the way. um, the answer really is no. Nobody can represent you. And what I mean by that is like nobody's going to go to Google or call Google on your behalf and argue why you should be reinstated. So not in that sense. Yes, you can go to people like ourselves who are experts at reinstatements, and I do recommend that you do find an expert to review your documentation, review your case basically before any submission is ever done to Google. Um, Go through it. It doesn't cost as much as you think. And the only thing that can happen from it is that you're going to learn from it at the end of the day, really. But you also have a better chance of getting reinstated. So yes, I would absolutely find an expert for a second opinion. Yeah,
I mean, look, if your phone stopped ringing, I don't think the cost of it matters, right? Like,
you're
it,
right.
it really depends on the size of the firm, but I would hope that even the smallest of firms, you're getting a few calls a week. If this is going to be down for 2 or 3 weeks, that's uh, that's a month's worth of business that you're not gonna have. How long can you go? But less than how long can you go? It's like, what is that worth to you,
Right.
right? I would hope that even on the small scale, if it's a month's worth of business, you're at least doing $10,000 a month, right? So, um, that's that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know what it costs to have somebody represent you, like on your side, Ben, but my guess is it's probably not more than 10% of that.
Now we usually charge about $600.
Yeah.
And then we have a program actually that's pretty unique to us that we have, which is called My Business Assurance. And some of your clients are on this. And basically, what the My Business Assurance does is it actually helps with all of this stuff, right? It helps mitigate suspensions. It helps defend profiles from being edited by Google and from people, which can cause a suspension. Like, say, somebody changes your name every single day and you change it back. Guess what? You're going to get suspended eventually. We also go through all of the documentation that Google needs basically for a reinstatement, build a case file, and also make sure that the profiles are going to be in compliance before suspension. That's the important part. So, for 79 bucks a month to lessen the chance of being suspended and increase the chance of being reinstated, probably the cheapest business insurance you'll ever find.
Yeah, I like thinking of it that way too. Um, any I know that we're not going to dive into reviews, but any specific tips around reviews, getting reviews, the types of reviews, the frequency and how the velocity of reviews, any best practices that you've seen that we can share with our audience?
Sure. The first thing is that you want to get a review from somebody when they're in their happiest state possible. What we've heard from a lot of our clients is that their clients are happy when they are notified about getting a settlement, not when they actually get the settlement. Why? Because usually, from what we've heard, again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, but from what we've heard is that when they get the settlement, they've already spent their money. That's really what it comes down to. So they're not happy anymore. They're paying off bills basically. But when they're been notified and hey, you're getting a settlement, that is when they're at their happiest. So that's the point where you want to go ahead and send them a link and ask for them to write a review. And when you ask them to write a review, you want to ask them to include details about what happened, basically, if they can. Obviously, if it's criminal defense, you might not want to do that one, right? Or something like a family law, well, that could be a little bit testy too. But writing a review basically about your experience, ask them to mention your law firm name, mention the person they worked with, and the experience that they had. Um, don't think about this from an SEO perspective, by the way, because if you think about it that way, you're going about this all wrong. You want to think it more along the lines of how can I get a review from my customers so future potential customers are going to read that review. And the other thing is responding to all of your reviews. So if somebody leaves you a 1-star review, respond. 3-star, respond. 5-star, respond. You should always be responding. Again, don't try to stick in keywords. It's not going to work. If you want to save time, you can absolutely use something like ChatGPT to even help you write a review response. Just make sure you edit it. But those are the kind of the general golden rules when somebody's their happiest or in responding to every single review possible.
Ben, if it's all right with you, I want to switch gears to LSAs for a bit and just kind of
Yeah.
go down that road. Um, LSAs, list service ads, we described what they are. Basically, you tell Google, you get Google screened, and then you tell Google, I want to spend X amount per month or X amount per lead. What drives Google to put you up there in that Google screen section? How does Google determine that? And just to put it in perspective, I'll just use my own experience with some of my clients. So I have one client who put in, got set up, put in a budget, got nothing. Not the phone never rang. They weren't showing up. Um, they increased their budget. They put it to the maximum budget available to kind of try to send a signal to Google saying, "Hey, I'm here ready to spend money with you sending me stuff." Never really got anything. Got another
Sure.
client who just kind of turned it on. Like no real thought about it, no real, and all of a sudden she's got 75% of her business that's coming in is coming from LSAs.
Right.
So what's behind that? What drives it? And is there anything that we control or is it really just being at the whim?
This is the $1 million question. Here and here's the million
Multi-million dollar
and
question
here and
possibly.
here and here's the $1 million answer. There's about 15 different levers that you can pull within LSA. Only about 3 or 4 of these are actually well known. The rest are kind of, well, proprietary. But we've been doing them for 5 years, and we also work directly with the team over at LSA, so we get to learn a lot of little things. One of the biggest misconceptions that people have with LSA is the bigger the budget, the better the leads, or the more the leads I'm going to get, because Google even tells me if I put in $1 million budget, I should be able to get 700 leads. Those numbers are extremely misleading. Um, it has to be a delicate balance. And there's some variables that you need to know that you're not going to know. For instance, percentage of new businesses coming in within a quarter, percentage of businesses leaving in a quarter, size of those businesses, number of lawyers basically at those firms, size of the marketplace, number of leads total available in that marketplace. Each one of these different things affect how you rank, and some you have zero control over. But if you don't know the answer, you can't actually manipulate your bid. And that's the problem. So when a lot of lawyers come to us, they've got, this $500,000 a week, so basically 2 million a month. Well, guess what? Google is not going to be able to fulfill that for you. So Google will, instead of saying, well, maybe you should reduce your budget, they'll just say, we're just not going to send you leads. For you, you don't see that. All you know is you're just not getting leads. So what do? Okay, fine. 500,000 a week isn't going to work. Let me make it 1 million a week. Wait 2 days. Come on, Google, I'm impatient. I need leads. Okay, fine. I'll make it a million five a week. And they keep going up and up and up. What you don't know is that Google on the back end takes 2 weeks at a minimum to refactor your bidding style and your budget. So every time you go ahead and you redo that bid, or the budget, it resets basically until it gets to a point where Google's just like, okay, you don't know what you want to do, so we're not going to do anything. So guess what we're going to put you into? It's basically a 6-month hole. So we just call it the dip. But if you're not getting leads, it's a hole. And basically it's like no matter what you do during this 6-month period, you're not getting out of that hole. But they will not tell you this up front, that you're just not going to get leads. So to get your best value or get the leads out of, basically, I would say you set a realistic budget. You know your area, you know your competitors, right? But just make it really realistic. And so start in more of a mid range, say maybe $1,000 a week or something like that, and see what happens there. If you're a brand new one, there you do get a new ranking bump or a new lead bump, I should say. But if you've got a realistic budget, then your leads will still start to go upwards. It's like we got one firm that we work with where it's like their leads grow probably about 40% per quarter, something like that. And it's just quarter over quarter, they continually grow. They're going to hit a certain point where it's going to plateau. And when it hits that point, it's like their CMO was asking me, he's like, okay, so what's the plan for when we hit the plateau? I said, the plan is to keep on doing what we're doing and keep that plateau going because you're at the top of the rank and you're at the top of the pack now, basically. You're getting all the leads that are available in this marketplace are coming to you that you can get. It's not going to get any better, but it's going to be gangbusters like it has been for the last 3 months. Yeah. Does that answer your question? I know that's a lot, a little stuff.
Yeah. So another thing that happens with LSAs is that we get leads that are not valid, right? Or
Sure.
they're, I don't know, maybe wrong practice area, or they're looking for a plumber and they somehow contacted an attorney. The phone rings, I get billed, right? What's the process of going about it? Is there a process to get those refunded? And how easy or difficult is that? What's involved in getting that done?
So let's go over some things that have happened recently in LSA because that talks to that. You used to be able to dispute leads that you thought were incorrect. This is gone. Actually, it's been gone now for a month. And so the reporting a lead, basically, or disputing a lead, used to be able to be done manually. Now it's done algorithmically and by AI. And so that's just Google will tell you, it's like, we've credited you X amount of leads. And that's it. You can give them feedback on each lead that you have to its quality. But all that's doing is teaching Google a little bit more about maybe the leads in your business. It's not going to help you dispute leads. We're lucky because we are what's called a managed partner over at LSA, which means that we have a little bit of capability of going actually and disputing leads manually. But the average company doesn't have that capability. The only thing they can do is cross your fingers.
So
Um,
you provide feedback, but it doesn't actually generate any sort of refund. So the whole
correct.
refund thing is basically gone unless you're using a partner who can talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's automated. That's all. It's just that there's no disputing it, no manual disputing that you can do. So you have to just have basically hope that the Google gods give you your money back is really what it comes down to. Um, the other thing is that something else that's changing is that the review link used to be a review link for a verified review, basically. That's gone, or it's going away, I should say. We don't see it in our dashboard anymore. And so it's already gone also in the EU in a couple of areas. And so what that means is that your GPP reviews, remember we were talking about this earlier, how they go into your local services ads as well, are going to be the source of reviews. And so that's a big thing because a lot of people have been thinking for the past couple of years, like I need to get verified reviews because it makes me look better and helps my ranking. They never helped with ranking, by the way. Um, so, but yeah, now it's going to all be in your GBP, making your GBP even more important. Um, Booking, not really a big deal for law because you don't use things like service titan, so I'm not too worried about that. But booking for GBP and LSA are now merged. It's the GBP booking system that actually matters. And also a bigger change is that any name and address change to your GBP will pause your LSA ad, actually.
For how
So
long?
these are the changes that have occurred
When you make that change and it pauses your LSAs, how long does that last for?
until you fix it. Until you prove to LSA that the changes that you made on GBP are actually accurate. And that's a manual process.
So do you get notified that your LSAs have been turned off because of this, or is
I
it
don't
just
believe
kind of like,
I don't believe so. I think they literally just turned them off. They desync them. You just stop getting leads, basically. Google's great at communicating.
yeah, what a wild frontier. I mean, like it's almost like really, really powerful. You have to be there, but at the same time, you're screwed if anything doesn't work.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I mean, on a totally side note, we just discovered this one the other day, is that so we defend against a lot of what's called owner hijacks. An owner hijack is when I go in and I say basically I want to manage your business or I want to own your business profile. Well, you have 3 days to reject the ownership request. That ownership request, again, communication from Google, only goes out to the primary owner of the Google business profile, which is usually not the marketing person, by the way. It's probably the owner who has a separate Gmail account that they never look at. Well, guess what? Somebody can easily take over your account, boot you out, change your name, change your address, change your phone number, and now your Google business profile is now their Google business profile. And getting it back, I can tell you, is agonizing because we've had to do it. So, but yeah, I mean, so that's how good they are at communicating. They just, I don't know why they don't send it out to everybody.
All right, and we're nearing the our end time for this interview. We talked about business profile. We talked about creating it, establishing it, protecting it, defending it. We talked about LSAs, setting them up, getting verified, delivering, setting your budget, um, you know, figuring out why, perhaps why it stopped. Is there anything else on your Google presence that we just haven't covered that we should be talking about?
Not really. I think we've actually covered a lot of the bases actually at this point. Um, again, it's what I like to tell people, we went over this briefly. So whenever you're looking at anything that has to do with SEO or Google, don't do things for Google. Do things for users. If you do things for users, Google's going to follow. And we really didn't talk about your website, but pay attention to your website SEO. Hire an SEO firm, because the dividends that you're going to give you there on the organic side is going to flow over into your local. Any links that are being built are going to give a fractional amount of power to your Google Business Profile as well. And so that trustworthiness of that Google Business Profile is extremely important. So if anything you do, if you take anything away from this, is that pay attention to it. It's not just a free thing from Google that's nice to have. It's a free thing from Google that can help you grow your entire business.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I want to switch gears here and talk about how people can take next steps with you if they want to use Study on Demand for
Sure.
some of these services. Also, leave you with this. Perhaps you can share one parting piece of advice or wisdom for our audience. But before I turn the mic over to you for those two things, I'm just going to share what I'm recommending my own coaching clients internally, as well as our fractional CFO clients. Um, I'm introducing my clients to Ben. I said in the intro, I'm sending every single client to him. The work that Steady on Demand is doing is just something that most marketers are ignoring, not doing, or not doing as well as they're doing. And they've got it so efficient, and the pricing so in tune that it's almost like a no-brainer. Like you don't really need to think about it. Just turn it on, have his team do their thing, and you can forget about it. Um, we're doing that business profile insurance policy, we'll call it the business defense. We're doing the managed LSAs where his team will work on defending some of those refunds. I don't know if that's changed with the new policy. You'll have to fill
Yeah,
that in.
we still have power on
Yeah.
that.
And then also something that they do is they offer an SEO audit. And that's,
Yeah.
an independent SEO audit, whether you have a company that's doing SEO for you or whether you just have been kind of, trailblazing your own path. What they'll do with that audit is they'll give you back a report that has all of the action items that you need to do if you want to improve your SEO score, which is really, really valuable because even if you don't have somebody or even if you do have somebody, you're always been taking their word for it that they're doing something. How do you know? How do you
Right.
know they're doing anything? And now you can actually find out where you're at, and what you need to do to fix things. And you may find out that the vendor that you thought was doing something is really, really not doing much. And maybe it's time for a switch. But also that SEO report's going to help you with the business profile and with the LSAs, because we just talked about in this last hour, we talked about how all of these things are interconnected. Ben, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you.
So you just want two takeaways or what?
Yeah, just a parting piece of advice or wisdom, and then how can people find out more about your services, or if you want to talk about any of those services, you have the
Sure.
opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gone over a lot of the different things, like as far as best practices and such. So I think we'll just get to the meat and the hook here, and that is that. So if you want to reach me, the company name is Steady Demand, two words, and so steadydemand.com. You can always find me for updates on like news or things that I'm seeing in the industry on Twitter. I'm never going to call it X at the social dude, old Twitter handle. I just never got rid of it. And yeah, so those are the easiest ways to contact me. Of course, you can always find me on LinkedIn. I'm there as well. Just search for my name and you'll probably find me. And so yeah, so basically we do offer all of those services. I mean, we're highly specialized, of course, when it comes to Google Business Profiles. We even do Google Business Profile Management. That doesn't really help you rank, it just helps you save time. The insurance or the insurance that we have is probably one of the best, biggest things that we sell. We know that a lot of law firms, they just need this. And so unfortunately, they come to us after the fact, usually when they're suspended. Part of this webinar really is to get the message out there that don't wait for your suspension. It's just not worth it. Get in front of it, just like anything else. You want to be prepared. If you don't hire us, hire somebody. Please hire somebody. And of course, we do the local services ads, and like you were saying, we do the SEO audits. And those SEO audits, I am going to drill into this very quickly because enough people that I talk to tell me that they love how we do it because most of the people in the industry don't. We don't have a retainer when we do SEO work. We just produce the audit, which allows you to get it done by yourself by somebody else. Or if you want to, we tell me how many hours it's going to be. And based on how many hours we found, that's it. It's like if we find 10 hours worth of work, that's all we found. And so if you hire us for those 10 hours, that doesn't mean you're on the hook for 10 hours a month on a year-long contract. It's 10 hours. We're kind of done at that point. There's nothing left to do. Of course, it's more like usually 50 or 80 hours, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I love the point that what you said there is like, how people can get that audit and they can give it to their SEO firm and their SEO firm can do what they want with it, basically at that time. And that's extremely true. It's like, been doing this for a very long time, figured that this is a better way to do it and not get people trapped into a SEO situation where they're just getting reports every month and you ask the company what they're doing and they say, I don't know. I get this report. It looks pretty.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, like SEO kind of feels like one of those things that's like a black hole, right? Like you have to be investing in it, but you
yeah,
have no idea if it's doing anything. And then turn around and 18 months have gone by and you're like, wait a second. If I search, I don't find myself on the internet. So what exactly am I paying for?
right. Exactly. But yeah, I would say that's about it for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ben. Folks, if
Cool.
you enjoyed today's episode, I encourage you to make sure to subscribe to the Profit with Law podcast or our YouTube channel, wherever you're catching this particular conversation. You want to make sure to subscribe because this way you get notified every time we go live or send you out a new episode. That happens every single week. We have guests every Thursday getting released here on the channel, and I'm happy to share that with you. You can also go back and binge on over 400 previous episodes there for the listening. Some really amazing stuff, amazing content. Everything's actionable. We always have a show notes page to go with it, so you can get a synopsis. You can find the links that we've shared, and all of that can be found at profitwithlaw.com. We'll see you next week on our very next conversation. Take care.